Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for tuning in. A recession is here. We have a recession now. It's not only imminent, we're in a recession. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about Trump suing CNN and a whole lot of other things. Chuck Grassley and the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the fact that Republicans will take over the House and Senate very soon in November, and there will be endless investigations of Hunter, mashed potato brains. There will be an impeachment. We'll get to all of that. Hit subscribe to this channel. Hit subscribe to the stock market crash and the Bitcoin crash channels as well. I will do a lot of work on those channels coming actually tomorrow, but also in August. So in August, ladies and gentlemen, there will be a lot done on those channels, ladies and gentlemen. To my super chat, I can't do this without you. So if you enjoy my work, if you enjoy these live streams, your super chat support is greatly appreciated. You want to talk about the economy or anything going on in politics or in life in general, via super chat. I don't have $20 million in venture capital funding, so your super chat support is greatly appreciated. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a huge economic downturn, a catastrophic economic downturn on the horizon. Why did I put oilprices.com? Okay, Brent crude is at 107. Okay, Eric, hello. G. Corber, everybody here. Hello, everybody. WTI crude is almost at $100. Okay, we're not going to have low oil prices and gas prices. Very soon, energy costs are going to go way back up again. They're still high, but they're going to go way back up. We're in a recession. We're going to have a prolonged economic recession, not just 2 quarters of negative growth. Okay, Biden and Democrats are going to have a very tough time explaining how 3 quarters of negative growth means that we're not in a recession. Okay, so you have to ask yourself this. Okay, Trump is suing CNN. Republicans are about to take over the House and the Senate. Hunter is going to plead guilty to numerous crimes, almost certainly. They're trying to indict Trump. They can't indict Trump. They don't have anything on him. Now, I was watching Styx today. He's fantastic, and he had a great analysis of Styx Exenhammer had a great analysis of the probe into Trump, basically the public relations attempt at trying to say, oh, well, he's on the ropes and the walls are closing in and they're investigating Trump. My only, and I agree with him. There's nothing there. The only thing I'm worried about, personally, is that they indict the man knowing that he didn't commit a crime. That is something I'm worried about. So I agree 100% that Trump didn't commit a crime. Otherwise, they would have indicted him a long time ago. But you don't have, Democrats now they barely exist as a political party. Okay, Rhonda, hello. Thank you so very much, Rhonda. They barely exist as a political party. If they didn't have Jimmy Kimmel, Seth Meyers, Stephen Colbert, all of Twitter, social media algorithms, the Washington Post, the New York Times, MSNBC, CNN, The Atlantic, New Yorker, New York Magazine, Vice, BuzzFeed, The Daily Beast, Los Angeles Times. If they didn't have all of Hollywood, the entire music industry, if they didn't have, corporations just gravitate towards whatever Democrats think is just and moral. So if they didn't have every single possible advantage, they would cease to be a political party. We are in a protracted economic downturn, and it's because of Biden's policies. We had a V-shaped recovery. We had gas prices at around 2-something. We had inflation at around 2%. We had the ability to grow the economy. Instead, his policies, his executive orders, his attempt at combating climate change. Own it, Democrats, own it. If you want to combat climate change and you want to make it difficult for oil and gas companies to operate, then own it. Don't just say that you want low gas prices and you also want to ban leasing on federal lands, and you also want to do away with fossil fuels and have net zero emissions within the foreseeable future, and you want to do away with coal, and you want to do away with oil, but you have no alternative. So if you have no alternative, why would you enact policies that make it difficult for fossil fuel companies to extract fossil fuels at a time when the economy needs to rebound? So Democrats tanked the economy gleefully. They did so gleefully, ladies and gentlemen. And they tanked the economy 2 years ago because of experts and morally superior, highly educated experts, bureaucrats, media. Everybody was completely apoplectic and hysterical, saying we had to tank the U.S. economy. We had to. We had no choice. Everybody had to stop working. Okay, then they pumped $1 out of every $5 has been created by the Federal Reserve. So what do you expect? What do you expect, ladies and gentlemen, if $1 out of every $5, inflation is going to go through the roof? Okay, when you increase the money supply and a whole bunch of other factors take place, inflation is now through the roof. And it's runaway inflation. So we have an economic downturn. We have a contracting GDP with interest rates increasing. How does that work? How on earth does that work? Why would you do that? Usually, you would want to raise interest rates to slow down an economy. We already have an economic slowdown, so that makes no sense. That makes no sense. You lowered interest rates to zero, okay, after shutting down the economy and pumping money into $1 out of every $5 created by the Federal Reserve. Then you wonder why inflation was so high. So what was the point of pumping $10 trillion into the economy and lowering interest rates to zero? What was the point? The whole point, the reason you do that is because they said, "Oh my God, we ended economic activity, so we want the country to grow. We want GDP to grow. Okay, we want to do something to get GDP to grow." Okay, so they wanted the economy to expand, not contract. That's why they lowered interest rates to zero. Now, they were raising interest rates during Trump's administration for a while. Okay, and he got upset with Powell. But you have Yellen and Powell all throughout 2021 saying, "Oh, it's temporary. Inflation is temporary." And they want to now inflation is out of control. So what they want to do is raise interest rates to combat inflation, to try to slow down an already contracting economy. So my question to everyone here is, will we have a positive third quarter? Okay, the first quarter was negative. Now, if you look, like I show you here, oil prices are going to be over $100 or 107 Brent crude. It didn't last very long. Even with a recession, you're still going to have oil prices well over $100. Okay? Well over $100. And if you look at GDP Now estimates, we have a negative 1.2% GDP for the second quarter. Now, the third quarter is going to be it's not going to be good, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to have layoffs. Now, I haven't been doing as much work as I should do on my stock market crash channel, and subscribe to that one. I'll have a segment either tonight or tomorrow on there, but every day in August, September, October, November, ladies and gentlemen. If you're on this live stream, ladies and gentlemen, I don't think people got notification, but starting August 1st, I will be doing 4 segments a day, including a live stream in the evening on H.A. Goodman. I will be doing 4 segments. Richard, hello. Hello, Richard. I hope all is well. G. Corber, hello. I will be doing 4 segments on the stock market crash and nuclear confrontation channel, and I'll be doing 4 segments on the Bitcoin 10K crypto crash channel. So I will be doing 4 segments on 3 channels every single day in August, starting August 1st. And I'm going to hold myself to that. That's my goal. I keep saying that I want to do that, and it's like, it's tough to do. It's really tough to do. Josie, hello. So, Mark, hello. That's what I want to do. So I look forward to August, ladies and gentlemen. This month has been a very slow month in terms of news from my channel. It's been like, I've been hitting a lot of singles lately. Singles, maybe some doubles. Not many home runs, because the home runs will come in August, September, October, November. We have the Durham Probe Special Counsel trial in October. We have the midterms in November. We have actually Musk versus Twitter in October also. And we have the run-up to all of that in August. So August and September are going to be very, very important. Ladies and gentlemen, you have Herschel Walker, you have Kari Lake in Arizona for governor, Herschel Walker for senator, Oz in Pennsylvania, Mehmet Oz. They keep saying that, they keep saying that these Trump-endorsed candidates will lose. And my question is, we have an economy that's going to get worse. I don't know how the polls don't reflect that, but of course we know how the polls don't reflect that. The polls are public relations ploys by the wonderful Democratic Party. There's a great deal of public relations involved in these polls. So there's probably a lot more support, for example, for Herschel Walker in Georgia. Georgia's an interesting red state also. Very bizarre Republican Party there. Senior, hello. Steelers, hello. Exactly, Steelers, hello. Quinn, hello. And so if we have a negative second quarter, and that should come out in a couple of weeks that it's official. Okay, so hold on. The GDP forecast for the third quarter will be out Friday, July 29th. For the third quarter, okay. We're gonna have 3 negative quarters, people. So when are we gonna find out? And what, in the next week, or so within the next week, or in a couple of days? We should find out in a couple of days whether the recession is official. We already know that. So Dark Meta, hello. Florida Man Bear, hello. Nuna, hello. And so, I mean, this is a really big issue that nobody's talking about. I mean, maybe it's boring. It could be boring. It's probably not exciting. But what happens if there's a negative third quarter? Okay, so we're going to have a negative third quarter also. And if there's a negative third quarter, will there be a negative fourth quarter? We'll have the entire year in negative territory in terms of the economy. And how the stock market doesn't tank 3,000 to 4,000 points in one day, I don't know. I don't want that to happen, but I mean, I don't know. Maybe there's just so much money pumped into the economy that it's keeping everything afloat. I mean, the market crashed like I predicted it in September of 2021. But unfortunately, I see the 87, 08 type of, 1929 type of debacle where it's going to be just a terrible, terrible crash in one day. So I think that is still, unfortunately, on the horizon. When Democrats and media and experts and bureaucrats, really wonderful people, when they pushed to end economic activity 2 years ago after a great economy, that was one of the greatest economic sins That was one of the greatest economic sins that ever took place. But I mean, here, layoffs, this is like a serious thing. You know, Shopify lays off 1,000. Shopify, latest tech company, cutting 1,000 jobs. It's hitting the tech sector a lot more than any other sector. But unfortunately, once inflation hits people, so consumer spending, which they say, the consumer's still spending. Yeah, most of it is gas and food. So it's kind of hilarious. At first they said, as you can see, gas prices have gone down because there's a recession and demand is down. But oil is now back up over $100 per barrel. It was only like 2 weeks or less than 2 weeks where it was really below $100 a barrel. Brent cruised at 107, okay? It'll get to 150 eventually, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen. It'll get to 150. The supply around the world, and also the Middle East now, is like, we're actually going to increase the cost. Zookski! Have a good day, dude. Thank you so very much. Thank you. One of the great names in this channel's history. Zookski. Thank you so very much, Zook. Greatly, greatly appreciated. Starting off the super chat, I can't thank you enough. And to my UK viewers, thank you so very much. Thank you, Zook. I hope all is well. Thank you so very much for watching. I appreciate that very much. Thank you. The Freak, hello. So, if inflation, and it's happening in the UK, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, the US, Western countries, what did we all do? Because of morally superior, wonderful, highly educated liberals in our countries. You know, they're very smart people, and they're really, really interested in our well-being. So what they did was they forced economies to shut down. Then they pumped money into the economy. Now the economy is taking a giant dump everywhere. And then you have the rebuttal from Democrats, and inflation is a global problem. Oil prices are a global problem. Really? Okay. It's a global problem for every country that shut down their economy. Because you had central banks flood money into all of these economies. Then they opened up, they turned on their respective economies like a light switch. Then there was demand for everything. Then you have inflation because the money supply has increased. Toy Mafia, hello. Zook, thank you again. To my super chat, thank you so very much. So a lot of these global phenomenons are people who adhered to these wonderful multinational organizations that told a whole bunch of countries to do the same thing all at once. But that's just the way it is. So that's, it's like they desperately want Trump out of 2024, but they want Trump out of 2024 because they know he can win. They know that he can easily defeat. He's done it before in 2016. And so they know that in 2016, they know that if it's Mittens Romney, if they can get a good Republican like Mitt Romney or Paul Ryan, they would easily. Crevice, hello, C. Revis, boom. That was the first time I said it. I said the name. C. Revis, hello. C. Revis, hello. Thank you so very much. The first, one of the great profiles in this channel's history. The profile pic is fantastic. C. Revis, thank you so very, very much. I hope all is well. Thank you so much. Definitely, everybody, Zook, C. Revis, everybody here. Be here in November. November. Remember the Crazy Oliver, hello. You remember the monster cars in the 80s, ladies and gentlemen? Where you'd have like, or like Evel Knievel. Loved Evel Knievel. His son actually was actually flied over more cars than he did. Broke his records. But you'd get like Sunday, Monster Car Show. And so it's this. So now I'm thinking November. Watching Democrats lose the House and the Senate. I just don't understand how in this country Democrats could even be competitive in the Senate. I mean, if they didn't have all of media, my God almighty. C. Revis, thank you again. Greatly appreciated. To my super chat, I can't do this without you, ladies and gentlemen. Your support is greatly appreciated. I mean, as I beg for super chat, I'm telling everybody, save your money. Save your money, ladies and gentlemen, as I beg for super chat. It's going to get worse. Remember, to my viewers who were here last year, remember when I said, it's going to get bad. It's going to get bad, everybody. It's going to get bad. I see a terrible crash. I see it. Now, I haven't been right about everything, in the past 4 or 5 years, but since I started the channel about 5-6 years ago, I've been more right. I've been more spot on than I have been wrong. And I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, I think that we could be flirting with an economic depression. We could be flirting with, hi, depression, how are you? We could be flirting with an economic depression. Flirting. See, Revis, I said flirting. I'm not predicting it. Zook, everybody here. We could, because if we have layoffs on a massive scale. First of all, inflation isn't going down, okay? Fed increases rates again. The interesting use of a terminology. But Fed raises rates again. Powell vows no surrender. This is how you know Reuters has been taken over by, in a way, influenced by the Democratic. Powell vows no surrender. No surrender in inflation battle. No surrender. Economy gone. So he vows no surrender after he completely botched inflation. He's like, it's temporary. What's the problem? But this is not going to help. The housing industry is going to crash. You're already seeing that now. Dark Meta, hello. So, we're already seeing this. I mean, who thinks that the third quarter is going to be positive? We have greater debt than GDP. I believe for the first time ever. The debt to GDP ratio is like 125%. And so you have a situation where is the positivity? I mean, mashed potato brains, there's no telling what he can do. He has, till 2024. Fed raises policy rate to 2.25 to 250 range. U.S. Central Bank weakening economic data. Fed's Powell says failure to tame inflation not an option. This man is hilarious. Why is it that he's a brilliant economist? I am not a brilliant economist at all. I know more about the economy than he does. I was saying all last year, I said we have inflation that's runaway. Inflation runaway. This man is supposed to be a brilliant, brilliant economist. The same with Yellen. And they didn't think inflation was a problem all of 2021. Love trucks, hello! Thank you to my members on this channel. Thank you so very much. If you're a member, you can definitely I'll say hello, see how you're doing on the chats. That's for sure. I'll try to do that with everybody also, but members for sure. The Federal Reserve said on Wednesday it would not flinch. It would not flinch. Wow, how courageous! All these millionaires who are now who completely messed up. Who completely botched and messed up their economic forecasts in 2021. By the way, these are the okay, this political side has all the far left saying working class. Like, you're voting against your own interest by voting Democrat. Get that? You're voting against your interest. And their only thing is like social safety net and unions, and that's fine. Yeah, you need those, but you're actually voting against your interest. You're poorer now. People are making less money. They're mired in poverty now, whereas they weren't under Trump. People who are struggling terribly now were not struggling as much under Trump. We didn't have these problems. We have a higher poverty rate now than we did under Trump. Higher poverty, 14 to 15% poverty, ladies and gentlemen. And we had 10% poverty under Trump in 2019. So, I mean, this is like a serious problem. You know, if you get to inflation at 10, 12, 13%, and that's just the numbers that the freak, I can see you. Nuna H, Nuna, hello. Thank you. I love the emoji. Thank you, Nuna. I hope all is well. Nuna. Thank you so very, very much. Thank you, Nuna. Definitely everybody here, Nina, Zook, C. Revis, everybody here, be here in November. And all throughout August and September and October. But November is going to be awesome. By the way, what was it? The 2-year yield is higher than the 10-year, inverted. And so, big problem, huge problem. So hold on one second. Inverted treasure. Big problem. Huge problem. Not good. Nope. Very bad. Game over, man. Game over. What movie? People? What movie? Come on now. Nuna, thank you again. What movie, people? Game over, man. Game over. What yields are doing? The 2-year yield, 3% declined to 2.968. So the 10-year Treasury is now 2.731. And that should be, it's inverted. People have less faith, investors have less faith long-term in the U.S. economy. They just want to get their money and get out now. Usually in a normal economic environment, the 10-year is a place where you could park your money because you are confident that the U.S. economy eventually will be just fine 10 years from now. That's not the case. The yield for the 10-year Treasury is 2.731. The yield for the 2-year Treasury is 2.968. And I believe declined 7.3 basis points. That's the fastest decline, short-term decline in, I think it was a record. It declined extremely fast. So aliens, that's right, Mikey. BV, that's right. Steelers freak, that's right. Game over, man. Game over. Nav in the house. I would love to. I would absolutely love to. Either channels. I would love. If I get it's contactgoodman88@gmail.com. That's my email address. contactgoodman88@gmail.com. So that's bad. Very bad. When you have inverted treasury yields, you have a recession. But see, I'm not really like, here's the thing. You can't just look at, if it's raining and there's like raindrops hitting your umbrella, what good is it to talk about the weather that moment? You already know it's a recession. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what you should focus on is, well, how are things going to be 6 months from now? I think they'll be worse, ladies and gentlemen. Anibon 31458! Anibon 31458, thank you. I have a variable rate mortgage. That's right. See, it just reset for another year with the same rate. Is it because of, what is it tied to? I'm not sure. Thank God it didn't go up. I'm not sure. But I know that a lot of the variable rates are going to are going up, though. So, good, though. Thankfully, that's, you don't have to deal with that. I'm not exactly sure. Dark Meta, I would love that. Yeah. Anibon 31458, thank God that it didn't go up. Maybe I don't know. I can't really speculate, but thank goodness it didn't go up. Thank you so very much for your support as always. Anibon 31458, thank you so very much as always. Captain Longboarder, yeah. Mad Max, let me tell you, I saw that movie again. Actually, I saw it for the first time, the Mad Max, the whole thing, about 5, 6, 7 months ago, from beginning to end. Let me tell you, and I love Mel Gibson, but I loved Apocalypto, I love Braveheart, I love all his movies, but I didn't like the ending of the first Mad Max. I was like, what? I'm not even getting into it, but something happens before he gets payback. I was like, what? Anyway, it's kind of depressing, so I don't want to get into it. But anyway, so Anibon 31458, thank you so very, very much. I can't tell you, I couldn't tell you, but I'm glad that it didn't go up. But it will be going up for a lot of people. And credit cards, that's the thing. Ladies and gentlemen, if you need a line of credit or a loan from the bank, it's going to eventually dry up. So, it's going to eventually dry up, ladies and gentlemen. So as I beg for super chat, I'll tell you, save your money. I would not be in the stock market, my God almighty. I wouldn't be in crypto, my God almighty. I would just be in cash. And when they say how to make money in the downturn, don't listen. This is going to be the most chaotic stock market for the next year. Republicans are going to be sworn in January. So we have, ladies and gentlemen, we have August, September, October, November, December. We have 5 months more. Actually, over 5 months. With mashed potato brains, we have 5 months where Democrats can have climate emergencies, where they can try to go up against the oil and gas industry again before trying to embrace their rear end after, tanking the U.S. economy. I would look at the third quarter. Look at the third quarter, ladies and gentlemen. Adibon 31458, thank you so very much. To my super chat, thank you. I cannot do these live streams without you, and I'll try to do a live stream in the evening, every evening from here on out. Now, if you look, they're going to have, this is the Atlanta Fed GDP Now forecast. So, the third quarter forecast, so we're already in a recession. So, this is the latest estimate is negative 1.2. And it's probably going to be around negative 1.2. It'll probably be worse, okay? It's probably be worse second quarter. Now, this Friday, July 29th, it'll be really interesting to see. If you're just bored and you have nothing to do, go to the Atlanta GDP, not GFD, GD, AtlantaFed.org. Okay. or you can type in GDP now on Google. Okay? It'll be very interesting to see what the GDP now forecast will be for the third quarter. I think that the third quarter is going to be negative also. Okay? And if you have a third quarter negative, now the question is, what will the fourth quarter be? The reason I'm not laughing because, U.S. layoffs, hiring freezes are tip of labor market slowdown. So this is really bad. Rising jobless claims, slowing wage growth points to weakness. Fed's action to cool demand will increase unemployment rate. You're making it more difficult for companies and investors and businesses and startups and entrepreneurs to raise money. That is going to make, they're going to say, well, you know what? We need to start laying off people. Okay? These companies are going to start laying off people while the Fed raises interest rates. Think about that for a second. Think about how horrible that is. Okay? We just had a self-induced nightmare because, well, it was induced by morally superior experts and Democrats. Whenever you hear experts say, just tune out. Because really what that means is experts who are liberal Democrats say. Experts who are conservative, they don't exist. And if you ever hear of them, they should be excommunicated and expelled from polite society, and they should be actually never speak again, and they should wish that they were never born because they're experts who are conservatives. But experts say is really Democrats, liberal Democrats who happen to be experts in a field, say something that aligns with the Democratic Party. But so these people tanked the U.S. economy. We had 22 million people unemployed. We're going to have more unemployed people again. Okay? I mean, how many people, ladies and gentlemen, are a paycheck away from being homeless in this country? And that's not Trump's fault. No, it's not the Orange Menace's fault. It's not Trump's fault. You know whose fault that is? Whose fault do you think that is? That's the fault of mashed potato brains and Democrats. Their policies were horrendous. Their policies were terrible. You don't go in here. You don't go in and have and in the first year in office, have the oil industry sue your administration. Okay? That you can just look at this headline in 2021. That's all you need to know. A big part of inflation is energy prices, and inflation is going to continue to skyrocket because energy is going to continue to increase. Okay? A big part of inflation is oil and gas and energy. Okay? Exactly. Bale of hay went. Okay. Coal is at all-time highs. So you have a situation where if the oil industry is suing the Biden administration, okay, you know that his policies were anti-business and anti-growth. When you have these types of policies, they hurt working class people. See, socialists or far left or democratic socialists or liberal Democrats believe that more government is actually more just and moral. The problem is they cause the poverty with their policies, and then they claim to be morally superior because they then say, oh, look at the social safety net that we're working for. Well, you caused the poverty. Well, you need a social safety net, preferably without poverty caused by failed policies. So when AOC was saying, we need an eviction moratorium, it's like, well, you prevented people from working, AOC. You prevented people from working, Democrats. Oh, that wasn't us. That was the experts and the bureaucrats. And these were good people who were saying, that we need to do. Well, then why are you still obsessed over you-know-what? The average age of the U.S. labor force was 40 years old. Okay? What are the numbers pertaining to 40-year-olds? We'll just leave it at that. Healthy 40-year-olds. What were the numbers? We'll leave it at that. Okay? And so you tank the U.S. economy. You didn't have to do that. It was a choice. You did not have to do that. It was a choice. And I agree with you. Bernie Sanders and AOC, their policies, if they got what they wanted completely, if they pushed why don't they push the Green New Deal now? And I used to be the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post, and the unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters, according to the Washington Post. I can tell you that when I was on that side, I didn't think of economic growth. I didn't understand that energy prices were a big part of inflation. I didn't understand that inflation would lead to negative real wages or real wage growth decline. I understood these concepts, but I wasn't aware that Bernie's policies lead to this. When you push to end economic activity, when you push to combat climate change, right after you opened up the economy, after you've ended economic activity, it's a big problem. Big problem, because then you have inflation, and inflation ruins countries. Inflation is the worst thing that could happen to a country, the absolute worst thing, because you're working hard, you're still working your tail off, you're working your behind up, but you're making money. You're not able to buy the same things. You're not able to buy bread or rice or food or gas for your car or clothing, as much clothing or as much. You're not able to put as much gas in your car as you used to be able to, and so it's a big problem. It's a huge, huge problem that we're having. And if you could just look, I mean, you saw this on the horizon. That's why in 2021 I said, look, we're going to have a major economic decline, stock market crash. Major oil companies suing Biden for halting drilling auctions on federal lands and waters this year, arguing the government is required by law to hold regular sales. The American Petroleum Institute and 11 other groups filed a lawsuit in federal court. It seeks to compel the U.S. Department of Interior to reinstate lease sales, calling the length of stoppage unprecedented. If he's engaging in unprecedented policies to harm the oil and gas industry, and then he says they're price gouging, we have a big problem. We have a problem in basic logic. You came into the administration making it difficult for oil and gas to operate. Then you complain when gas prices are going up after you've made it more difficult for them to operate because you want to combat climate change. Then you get sued by environmental groups because you're flooding the U.S. economy full of strategic petroleum reserves. Then he's going to the Middle East and begging for oil. And the Middle Eastern countries are like, nah, we're not going to help you. Which I don't blame them at all. I don't blame them at all. I would do the same thing if I was them. Really, if you're thinking of what's good for your country, and you understand that Europe and the U.S. And Australia and Canada are trying desperately to do everything possible to make it difficult for oil and gas companies. They're trying to move away and transform economies to renewables. Not really working, but you're probably going to say, okay, you know what? We'll charge more for the oil in our countries. We'll charge more, which is what actually that was a big article today. So the leader of OPEC is charging more now, which that's, so Biden now has to. He can't pump strategic petroleum reserves endlessly because we need those for, God forbid, an actual calamity, not to just make up for his failed policies. And he can't go to the Middle East or OPEC or other countries because they're not going to give him what he wants. Okay, they don't want to increase supply, and actually they're going to charge more now. So he has to go back to the U.S. oil industry, the same industry that he wanted to do away with, the same industry that was suing him. But look how these articles are written, ladies and gentlemen. They're written in such a Orwellian manner. It's like, experts hope Fed hikes tamp inflation. Experts? You mean Democrats who are smart and who happen to be who happen to be economists also. Because more conservative economists or more conservative experts were saying that we're heading to you-know-where in a handbasket for the past year. A year and a half. I've been saying it for a year and a half now. So, Fed increases rates. Powell vows no surrender. Wow, how courageous. You messed up last year. And they messed up last year, and now they're taking credit for raising interest rates, which will tank the economy and cause unemployment to go up. Wow, that's fantastic. And so Best Buy cuts its outlook. Wow. You had Target, Walmart, Best Buy. It's only going to get worse too, ladies and gentlemen. It's really terrible too, because people have been through so much. Families have been through so much. And I mean, think of like a single mother out there like working 2 jobs. How difficult it must be, like a family or a person that's like 1 paycheck away from being homeless. I mean, it's just terrible. And it's like Democrats pride themselves. Like, that's the selling point to being a Democrat or a socialist or a person on the far left. They think, oh, I'm gonna help those people. I want economic justice. It's like, your policies are literally causing all of this. Your obsession with protecting the planet from climate change as in part caused this. And like, you can find articles in the Guardian, the New York Times, and Reuters blaming the fertilizer ban in Sri Lanka as one of the primary reasons for the economic collapse. You can find numerous articles in 2021. Okay, and that was an effort of a multinational effort to combat climate change. JG, my man, JG. I hope all is well. JG, and then now they're saying, oh no, it wasn't the fertilizer ban. Like, well, yes, it was. That was a huge problem. Huge problem. It's really unbelievable that people aren't concerned with the third quarter. And if we have 2 consecutive negative quarters. Now, if you look at what a depression, let's look at the definition of an economic depression. Okay? The definition is right here. Okay? Investopedia. Pretty good one. A severe and prolonged downturn in economic activity. A depression is commonly defined as extreme recession that lasts 3 or more years, or which leads to a decline in real gross domestic product of at least 10% in a given year. Okay, so I mean, we probably won't have that, but we're flirting with that. If we have an AIG Lehman Brothers moment, which I think that we're going to have that type of moment, okay, we don't have the liquidity. The Fed does not have the ability to save any industry now because they just pumped in $10 trillion. Okay? They have through fiscal and monetary stimulus. The government, we have $30 trillion in debt. One out of every $5 was created by the Fed. So God forbid there's an AIG or Lehman Brothers moment. Think about that for a second. Because so in '08, Bush and President Obama bailed out Wall Street, which they had to do. They could have, made more, President Obama with Dodd-Frank could have. Dodd-Frank hasn't even been enacted for derivatives yet, derivatives trading. And that's a huge problem. And you can have hedge funds that go under, huge hedge funds that go under. And then banks could possibly go under because of that. Or you could have a too big to fail situation because of another housing crash that's on the horizon. You can have a whole bunch of things that take place that could cause a depression. I think we'll have a prolonged recession. We could flirt with high depression. We could flirt with a depression. Yeah. So, exactly, JG, derivatives could easily tank the globe. And there's no liquidity unless you want inflation to go really through the roof. So, let's say, God forbid, there's an AIG or Lehman Brothers moment. And then the Fed's like, we changed our mind. We're not going to raise interest rates anymore. And in fact, we'll lower interest rates and we're going to pump $10 trillion more. Well, that means you've just made sure inflation is like 15, 16% now. Now real wages are down 8%. Zookski! Dude, those who were guilty in the 2008 crash have never been punished. That's true. They were just millionaires. Look, now they're billionaires. Just saying, no, that's true. They're definitely, most of them are very likely more wealthy now. So that the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, Zookski, thank you so very much. It's true. The Securities and Exchange Commission is run by Wall Street executives, former Wall Street executives. Then they go back into Wall Street. In fact, I believe Bernie Madoff was running the NASDAQ for a second. Bernie Madoff was NASDAQ chair. Yeah, he was the NASDAQ. He was the chairman of the NASDAQ. So, he was running the NASDAQ or helping run the NASDAQ. So, yeah, I agree with you. Zookski, great point. Great point. I agree with you. These people also help influence the laws. So, but, at the end of the day, here's the thing. When you have Trump, Trump is more likely to hold these people accountable, much more likely. Because you see, he goes up against, there are sacred cows, for example, in geopolitics and domestic politics that Trump doesn't care about. I think he would be more likely to hold these people accountable. Zookski, great point. Great point, Zookski. We have 7 more minutes, ladies and gentlemen, then I'm going to head out. But great point. I mean, the super wealthy, the political class in every society, whether it's the UK, US, it takes a lot. Like, you have to be Hunter Biden to really, you have to be weighing illegal narcotics to just be forced to get a plea deal, okay? I mean, if it was anyone else doing what Hunter was doing, my God, okay? But you have to be Hunter Biden to have some accountability because, your emails and voicemails and photos and all that are just so horrendous. JG! Thank you, JG. My donation to the HA DeSantis says nothing on you, HA. Thank you, JG. Thank you, sir. Greatly appreciated, JG. And you know what? I used to want DeSantis. Now I just want Trump. You know what? I just want Trump because I like DeSantis a lot. JG, thank you so much. I can't do this without you, ladies and gentlemen. Your super chat is greatly, greatly, greatly appreciated. Thank you. JG, thank you so very much. You remind me of a little, I don't know about an epiphany, but like, so JG, I don't know if you remember, like, for the past couple months, I was like, yeah, DeSantis is awesome, but you know what? He is awesome. He's fantastic. But Trump we have to have Trump back, if anything, just because, exactly, save DeSantis for 2028, exactly, because the friends and family who disowned people for voting for Trump, the nasty text messages you get from lifelong friends, and you're voting for Trump. It's like, you gotta have Trump now. Too much has taken place. They made him into this nightmare, this monster, and Trump has to win. He has to come back, he has to be there in 2024. If not because of the amazing economy and amazing foreign policy, but because they tried so desperately to deceive half the entire country, to in their apoplectic and hysterical manner try to create this monster that isn't really. That's not who Trump is. Trump is like a much better human being than you can definitely than Joe Biden. I mean, much better human being. You can look at, if the media treated, if there was a dossier about Joe where he couldn't make his way out of a Moscow hotel room, and they accused him of everything under the sun, and they took all of his statements, they took what he said to Charlemagne the God, and they sensationalized it, and which was worse than anything Trump has ever said. And they made it into this huge, this huge story, and they said, "Oh my God, look at this man." You could look. I mean, Biden was actually accused of literally doing what Trump talked about on a hot mic, which, if Democrats cared more about what he said than what Biden was accused of having done. So it's like, the disconnect is unbelievable. Then you have this nonsense, like, what kind of characters Trump has? Well, what kind of characters does Joe have? Joe and Hunter had a clear pay-to-play quid pro quo scheme. It's in his email. It's like right there. You don't have to get people to talk about what was said or what possibly was said. You don't need gossip and hearsay in a congressional testimony, which is what you have now. You have his emails. You just read his emails. Right there. So, yeah, I'll take Trump. I'll take Trump's personality or his integrity. Much better. Did Biden condemn? Did any Democrats condemn what took place that summer? $1 to $2 billion in property damage. Did Kinzinger? Did Cheney? Did Biden condemn any of the churches that were being burnt to the ground the past couple of months because of the Dobbs decision? No. These people are hilarious when they talk about integrity. It's like they have political amnesia, or they just have amnesia, or worse. JG, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. And there would be so much salt. Eric, I hope all is well. H526, hope all is well, Eric. Exactly, mostly peaceful. They always utilize very warped semantics and these Orwellian phrases. But, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much, JG, C. Revis, Zook, everybody here, to my super chat, Adamon31458, Nuna. Thank you so very much, everybody. This was a fantastic, fantastic live stream. JG, thank you again. I will be back tomorrow evening at around 9 p.m. So be here tonight. Be here tomorrow evening at 9 p.m. Definitely subscribe to the Stock Market Crash and the Bitcoin Crash channels. And Dream Master, hello. And Roger Rabbit, hello. And I will go ahead. I'll be back tomorrow. Definitely check the uploads in the morning. And August 1st, everything starts, I think, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, in terms of a political shift towards Trump Republicans. Give me your thoughts.